Slate.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on The Show Must Go On line. Today's guests are PodballsUK, the podcast. We've got Steve Brockenbrow, Matt Hibbert, and Nick Roberts. How are y'all doing today?
Good.
Good. Thank you.
Another great day in the United Kingdom, isn't it, lads?
Oh, it gets better.
Oh, how could it get any better?
It couldn't get any better. It couldn't. Not for me.
It couldn't. No.
Yes, today we are starting all the way across the sea in the UK, specifically Liverpool, which is great for everyone watching at home that doesn't know. Steve and I worked at NJY Camps together many moons ago, and it was fabulous times. So that's how this got started. And then I started listening to your podcast, and I've been really enjoying it. So who wants to kind of take it away with explaining how the podcast Podballs got started?
Go on, Steve.
No, come off it.
I mean, Matt,
come off it. Don't try and play the shy one. Yeah.
Well, no, I suppose like I was the instigator because I knew you both separately and sort of brought you together like this.
Yeah.
I thought I'd spoke to Steve and Nick about doing a podcast because I did my own podcast, much better than any ones I've done with them.
Yeah.
Several podcasts, in fact, very successful podcasts as well, aren't they? Multi-genre, music, sport, again, eclectic. Sort of, eclectic mix. And I'd spoke with both Steve and Nick about doing one, and I thought they're both, and I hate saying this on air about them, but the two of the most like intelligent, witty, clever people and funny people I know, besides myself.
That's a wrap, guys. That'll do.
And mission accomplished. We're good.
And I thought we just tried to. We set up a group, didn't we? I remember a WhatsApp group where I said, let's do a podcast, but we didn't know what format to go with. And we sort of bounced a few ideas to get around. And then we hit upon, because we were going to do, we're still planning to do more, don't we, under the Podballs banner. But then we came up with the A to Z of music. And here we are. What are we on? G. We just done, what are we up to? L. We're up to next, aren't we?
L, yeah.
So we're nearly a third of the way through the alphabet. Yeah, 13, isn't it?
Yeah. How many letters are in the alphabet?
Too many, mate. Too many. Yeah. How old are you? How old are you, Nick? About 2/3 of your age, I think, isn't it?
Oh, come on. There's no need to be. There's no need to bring my age into it. So
well, there is. Well, you started it. You started having a little yap there.
Well, let me add something to Matthew's excellent comments.
Please do.
Was reluctant to do the podcast because not this one. I was reluctant to do Podballs because I am naturally quite introverted, and I like to. I'm very tall.
6'8".
Probably people. I mean, I'm preaching. People probably know how tall I am in America. I've been there several times.
It's a legend.
That tall lad from England. That's me.
Big lanky freak boy, they used to say, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah. So, I don't like to draw attention to myself. So it's the opposite of how. I mean, I don't listen to them. Something I've got in common with 7 billion other people. But yeah, I mean, I do enjoy doing them. I mean, I'm the butt of most of Matt's jokes on there, but I can.
Well, we're like, aren't we? We're like Reeves, we're like Laurel and Hardy.
It's harmless.
Yeah, harmless fun, isn't it? Yeah. And Steve sort of is the glue that holds it together while me and Nick are sparring, having some light-hearted banter when I call him like big lanky freak boy.
Yeah, I try to steer us away from anything that might be considered, libelous, slanderous.
Well, then I have to do the edit job after. I have to take out. We record for 2 hours. I have to take 1 hour 58 out, and then splice together a podcast from the rest of the footage.
Imagine how bad. Just imagine how bad. What the stuff that gets cut. If what we're left with is the best. I mean, God,
I know. Sometimes you'll say like, "Oh, there's no way this will make the edit," but it does.
Yeah.
That's because Matt really overstates how much of an edit job he does. What he does is
he does. I know it's ridiculous.
He cleans the songs up, and then any bits where he's making fun of Nick, he makes sure the volume's just a little bit turned up and nice. And clear. And other than that, it's good to go.
And
do you remember the episode where
you turn it down when I do my witty comeback as well? That never.
Mate, there's time. Time's running out. We have to wrap it up. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember that time when your mic broke, Nick? That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was that was the best I'd ever done on there, I thought, as well.
Yeah, it's funny that. It's funny, isn't it? That's the only time a mic's ever broken. It was your mic on that episode.
Someone described my performance as a solid 6 out of 10. So, you know.
It's also that's what's on his Tinder profile as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you've got to big yourself up, haven't you? Everyone lies on Tinder.
Yeah, not that much, mate. 6.
I know.
6.8 out of 10.
Yeah, very good.
I had a feeling this is kind of how the conversation would go when I invited you on. So you're living right up to the 6 out of 10 expectation.
Appreciate that. Okay.
If we can walk away from this with a 6 out of 10, I'll feel we've done some of our best work.
What did the cast of Hamilton get last week? And what did you have Paul Rudd on recently?
I interviewed Paul Rudd at a bowling event at a gala. It was so much fun. It was pretty cool chatting with Ant-Man. I'm not gonna lie.
What was he? A 5 out of 10?
Yeah.
He was like right up there. He was like I would give him a 10, but that's just me.
He seems like the kind of he's one of them few guys, isn't he, in like the world where women want to sleep with him and men want to go for a drink with him. A bit like us three, I think.
Yeah,
that's fair. He's pretty cool. And he was so nice. He was so nice to like everyone, like across the board, right? Like whether you were the New York Times or NPR or like me with my own, YouTube channel, he was equally nice and gave everyone like the same amount of time. And I feel like that's the charge of like a good man, good person.
You can probably be horrible.
Yeah, well, you can probably tell, can't you, if someone's like fake or if they're genuinely interested. It must be hard for him on a day like that when he's getting, he's just doing the press rounds,
right?
And you just think, you always see. Do you remember them ones when there's a film out and they have to do that sitting down opposite someone with the film poster behind them, and you just think they must be doing that for like 3 hours, and they get like the wacky presenter from MTV Europe coming in, and every now and again you see them just snap, don't you? Like it's usually the older ones. Yeah, and they're not playing games. They get someone in who's wanting to ask like, some wacky question, and they're just like, no. I think Richard Gere once, and he was just like, I've had enough of this. Or Liam Neeson. Don't pick Liam Neeson to try and have some friendly banter with.
Rudd. It's the last thing you want to do with Liam Neeson. I mean, a long list of things that I wouldn't want to do around Liam Neeson.
Yeah. What else wouldn't you want to do around Liam Neeson?
I don't want to get into it.
And Steve knows who probably my like all-time favorite, or just like the story I've told the most times about who I've interviewed. Come on, Steve.
Would this be Mr. Beckham?
It sure would.
Oh wow, that's cool. What was the context there? What was the occasion?
So I used to be an intern for WTOP Radio back in the day, and the LA Galaxy was playing at DC United. So, of course, I was like, I need to cover this. And apparently football or soccer isn't as big of a deal in the US. So when I, as an intern, was like, can I please go cover this? They were like, please, go ahead.
Oh, wow.
It was so crazy. I had my little microphone. Actually, Landon Donovan was there, but he wasn't playing that day. So I didn't get to chat with him. It was only the players on the pitch. But I remember, I haven't told this story in a while. So I used to have a lot of really good jokes. Let's see if they're still there. Okay, give me a little extra build up.
Matt, don't be horrible, Matt. Be nice as well.
No, I'm just
when I make a joke, honestly.
No, but as a professional comedian, I'm allowed to be a critic.
You're not a professional comedian, mate. You're a joke.
So the game was like a normal MLS game. It was good. They won. And it's funny, like being the away team that like they still got a lot of cheers because of who was actually playing that day. And so, of course, the locker room was crowded with all the reporters. I was the only female in the room. I was the only one under 20 in the room. And I was petrified. I'd never interviewed anyone like even close to that level. Like I'd been around Alex Ovechkin and some other like big time athletes, but never like there were like 7 of us kind of huddled around David Beckham, like in the locker room. You know, he had his beanie and the tracksuit, proper British. Amazing. So there's this guy who just starts like asking his question, and he's like going on. And I think, this is your only chance. You'll probably never have another opportunity to ask David Beckham a question. So I start to ask it, and this other guy just talks right over me. And I was like, no, I got to do this. So I try it again. I'm a pretty loud person, but in that moment, it was like very quiet. As Steve very much knows, I'm a very loud person. It's great.
Can you see that? Oh, awkward.
And David turns towards me and gives me the nod ahead. And we have a moment, looks into my eyes, answers my question. A lot of other outlets use the response to my question in their reports, and I got a big win.
What was your question?
So it's always the first follow-up question. It was right at the time where people were like wondering if he was going to stay with LA Galaxy or move back to England or maybe go to Europe, a different part. And I was just like, he kept saying, like, we just won a game. Can't you just ask me about LA Galaxy? So I asked like a very simple, what's your favorite part about playing for LA Galaxy? And he seemed so relieved about someone actually asking about the team that he's with and not having to answer like this big major like rumor question. And so he just spoke for a few minutes, and it was great.
Excellent.
Yeah. Sometimes just keeping it simple. What would you have done?
I would have said, how's Rebecca Luz getting on these days? Do you still keep in contact with her?
Yeah.
You know, and what do you think of your wife's solo music career? Didn't pan out quite as well as the Spice Girls did it?
Yeah, Mr. Spice over there.
Yeah.
I was a huge Spice Girls fan, and if you don't do a song from them when S comes up, I will be personally disappointed.
Someone will be. I can tell you right now, I won't be.
I've got one that I love. Nick, why don't you give a little? It's going to be probably how long till we get to S? What's your favorite Spice Girls track?
Well, I like a lot of them, to be honest, but I love Wannabe. I think Wannabe is a great song.
It is. That was the one. That was what they burst onto the scene with, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it certainly was. I actually went to last time I was in New York. I went in a bar, and the first song that they played as we were walking in was "Wannabe" by the Spice Girls.
I thought you were going to say.
I thought straight away, this is somewhere I'd like to spend the evening. But then I had a disagreement with one of the bouncers.
Doesn't sound like you.
Was asked to leave. So,
I thought you were going to say you went to a hotel in New York, and it was the hotel where they filmed the video. They were causing the right scene in that video, weren't they? Like, it was a real. Imagine if you were trying to check in. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like you wouldn't. You probably had a long flight. You're trying to check in, and you've got bloody Ginger Spice running amok, like pushing people.
Yeah,
and
there was an old man in there as well. I thought he's disrespecting the elderly, which is something I hate.
Yeah,
the elderly, without wanting to boast. And I've said this to Matt and Steve before. Old people to me. Old people.
Nick's demographic is like 60 plus.
Yeah.
Old people, kids, love me. My own.
It's just
struggling with the old 18 to 40 bracket, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the
difficult market to crack.
It is. It's what every advertiser wants. That's where the money is, and that's why.
Yeah. It's like when Oasis couldn't break America.
No, exactly, mate.
Yeah. Well, they had that one song actually. See, at Spence's wedding when they played the other Oasis song. Now I can't even remember what's the.
I also can't remember that because I got so drunk I thrown up on myself.
That's fair.
It doesn't sound like the Steve I know.
Yeah. It's a very warm day and not a lot of water being passed around.
It was quite a great day, I must say, and a lot of mimosas in fancy little flutes out in like a fancy garden. It felt like a fairy tale.
Yeah. It looked like, I remember Steve, you sent us a lot of photos from it. It looked like quite a pricey wedding, quite an extravagant do.
Yeah.
Was it?
Nice setting. I didn't ask about the financials, obviously, but
you know, you can read between the lines, can't you?
picturesque, I'd say. Very picturesque.
Yeah.
We had my sister's wedding. We really pushed the boat out. Matt did the DJing, didn't you, Matt?
And let me
tell you. Let me tell you. By the way, he didn't give any discount.
Well, no,
he said, it was a free bar, and he must have about £100 worth of lager, and
bronies as well.
His normal Saturday night fee.
No, Nick. I'll tell you now. Here's what you do, right? And a wise man once told me this. So, say if you're in the, I'm a DJ. Say you're in any business. Let's say, for argument's sake, Nick, you're a painter, and you need your room painting, and you'll say to your friend, you'll go, "You paint. Why don't you do my room? How much?" And you say £200 to them, right? You can double what you'd normally charge because your mate isn't going to ask anyone else. He's only going to come to you. He's not going to find out what the true market price is he? So you can charge double to your friends, and they're never going to know none the wiser. Right. Profit on that. No?
Can I just ask here now, Steve, how much are you getting paid for Podballs, Steve?
Nowhere near as much as Matt's getting paid. Let me tell you that.
So hang on, you two are getting paid though, aren't you? I knew it.
Yeah, well. Nick, do you not, before you choose your songs, do you not contact the record label and the band and be like, look, you need a bit of do you want a bit of a boost to your career?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And then I contact them and they say, they pay me not to choose them.
Yeah. Well, ever since you picked Ash.
Good song.
I've got them ringing me, and that's how I get most of my money. They go, listen, you ask me every week how I pick my songs so quickly. I'm sorted all the way up to Z, and I've got next season's picks. Because they're on the phone, they're saying, look.
Kings of Leon are on the blower.
Constantly. And I say, look, I need some facts about you to make it look like I've researched this thing.
Seems a brave shout to say that Podballs is going to be picked up for a second.
Hey, look what's on Netflix these days. They'll pick any old shite up, won't they? They'll pick us up. They'll put us on. Maybe, Nick, we might have to phase you out, Nick.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, well, get rid of the dead wood.
Yeah.
You said
what are the focus groups saying about Nick Roberts?
The 1840s are not favourable.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Nick, you're now out. You're on the outs of that demographic yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
How old are
you? 40. Don't look it, do I?
Early 40s.
40, exactly 40.
Well, so early 40s.
Yeah.
Middle-aged, you could say.
Yeah.
Okay. See,
don't look it though, do I?
I'm early 30s.
Does anyone want to pick that up? I don't look 40, do I?
Especially not after having a long friendship with Matt Hibbert, definitely not.
No, I know, exactly.
Oh, is that the deal breaker?
Well, Netflix, if I have to spend much more, Matt, Netflix will make a series about my actions, tell you.
Wait, did you ever? I didn't get to this part. Did you ever try when you were like gonna try yelling out your window to see if he could hear you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
We did try it. Yeah. It didn't work, did it?
No, and I really yelled.
It would. Do you know what? We might be able to do it. Ironically, it might work now again from the other direction.
10:30, isn't it now?
Yeah, well, it was 10:30 last time.
I know, but this is a weeknight. We live in a very elderly neighbourhood.
Just your demographic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why
I call them my people. Honestly, Matt will tell you. And I go out with Matt, and like all old people say hello to me, don't they?
I'm not joking. I was with Nick the other day. We went for a little game of football in the park. A 40-year-old man and a man who's 35 went for a kickabout in the park.
Yeah. I knocked and said, "Can Matt come out to play?"
He genuinely did. Nick kicked the ball in the nettles and ended up getting a sting. But
big sting as well.
3 separate elderly people stopped and spoke to Nick.
Yeah.
What's going on there? I got quite annoyed about it, to be honest, because normally it's the other way. Normally, Nick, it's you getting annoyed at people recognising me, isn't it? And I'll tell you this, it really does get on your nerves, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really winds you up.
Yeah. I make no bones about it. I don't like Matt being popular.
No. I go to Tranmere, don't I? We're a Tranmere, Nick. I'm getting mobbed by the fans.
Oh, it does hurt them.
It really does annoy you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Imagine being a footballer.
I know. Well, he's like a footballer around here with the way some people like him, honestly. We went to, what was it? Halifax. There's a Halifax in America, isn't there?
Yeah, Nova Scotia.
That's in Canada.
Scotia.
That's Canada.
Canada. You know.
Close enough.
Oh, this is an odd story, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an odd story. I was quite drunk anyway.
It seems like a running theme.
Yeah.
This was midday on a Saturday. Midday on a Saturday.
But it was a football away game, and it's one of those where you start drinking early, don't you?
Yeah.
And it was the day that Avicii, is it Avicii?
Avicii died the day before.
Avicii had died, yeah. And obviously Matt, is a DJ. We all know that.
Yeah. Pretty big deal, mate, round here, aren't I? Really?
Oh, massive deal. Someone came up to Matt and went, terrible news about Avicii, wasn't it? Dying. And Matt went, oh, yeah, it's really sad. And the guy went to him, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
You brought it up, you. Oh.
No, you forget Nick as well. He went, are you all right? Like, as if
you knew him personally.
He was like terrible about Avicii. You all right? And I was like, yeah. And he went, and he just went, no, I don't want to talk about it, and walked off. And I went,
you brought it up. God,
you approached me, brought it up, asked my opinion, and then said, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, it's just, I mean, that sounds like quite a trivial thing, but you know when it's like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Wound you up, didn't it?
All right.
Should also point out later that afternoon at the game, we won 2-0. Nick Roberts had drunk that much vodka that he started like spit. He did a spit on the terrace, and the spit hit the concrete floor we were stood on and started to melt the floor.
Oh,
it was like when you see someone spill acid and it like sizzles the floor and erodes it.
It was really weird. Yeah.
Yeah, you were in a bad way, weren't you, for a while?
I was, yeah. I mean, I was drinking to forget because of Avicii dying the day before.
Sounds very personal.
Yeah, it was.
It
was.
Are you also Everton fans?
Yeah.
What?
Did I just like open a wound right here?
No,
I mean, if I turn it that way, you can see the sort of a ginormous print in my room there. Just yeah, that's quite a good day, wasn't it, Nick? That we're Tranmere Rovers fans. We're not quite as good as Everton or Liverpool. Are we? Not quite as famous.
No, we have
You're not far off Everton. No.
We have. It's just it's more like, I think football for us. Obviously, we love the success if there is success, but it's more about the friendship and the days out, isn't it? I think like that's what most. Oh, this is awkward. You don't like going the game with me, do you? I forgot.
No.
I like going the game with Matt. He doesn't like going the game with me.
Nick's got a thing at the game. He told me this in confidence that if we're sat behind a bald person, the shine on their head, he visualizes and fantasizes about plunging an axe into the back of the head.
No, I don't.
Have you said that to me?
Don't do that.
No, I don't. Come on, Matt. That's making me sound potentially like.
You said that to me several times.
I didn't say I fantasize about doing it. I said when I see a bald head, I imagine like it's not something that I want to see. It's like in my mind, I imagine an axe going into it. I've never do it. I don't know why. That time. Are you familiar with snooker over there in America?
Oh God, this story again.
No.
It's like it's like billiards pool sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a bigger table than pool and more
balls.
balls.
When I was obsessed with snooker when I was a kid. And once I stayed up until like 2 o'clock in the morning when I was 6 years old. And this is probably like the source, I think, of some of my traumas, like childhood like this. I watched the snooker and the person that I wanted to win lost. So I was already upset. And I came out of the room and saw a vision of my mum's decapitated head.
Oh wait, I heard this on the podcast.
Yeah, on the telephone in the hallway.
I said this at the time. How was she holding the phone if she was decapitated?
Like that.
What, she didn't have where was the shoulder?
But on the table.
What's
Just leave it.
Like that. I don't know how you can't imagine it.
Who was she on the phone? Who was she speaking to on the phone?
I don't know who she was speaking to. I mean, it wasn't actually her decapitated head, thankfully.
You also, I should point out that his favourite snooker player was a guy called Steve Davis. And Nick, when he was a child, thought he was Steve Davis.
Yeah, I was weird.
You wouldn't come into the room, would you, until...
Oh, no, that's weird. Yeah.
You told me it.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I'd have to be
refused
like a Steve Davis.
You
we all have our things.
Oh, not as bad as this guy. He made his mum take him to the job centre when you were, what, 9?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And ask the guy in the job centre, have you got any vacancies as a professional snooker player? What did the guy say? No.
It was a woman, actually. And
I just said, no.
I was, yeah, basically, yeah. Didn't take it in the humorous way that most people would have.
Oh, well.
As with a lot of women in my life, I found her response quite disappointing. when approached in a friendly, congenial manner, I didn't get the action I was hoping for.
Do you remember that time in the Oxford, Nick, with that beautiful woman?
Yeah, no, don't, because this doesn't make me look personal.
No,
I don't get
look good. Like none of this is really putting you in your best light.
Yeah, okay.
I think it is. The truth is coming out about Nick Roberts
on 2 continents.
Yeah, finally. You ain't welcome back in New York after this.
No, I'm not welcome back in New York, and I'm certainly not welcome back at the Waldorf Astoria after I was sick so badly in their room they had to change the mattress.
I tell you what, Nick? Why don't you tell SHO about the last time you were in New York? You'd landed. You'd been. What happened on your taxi from the airport to the hotel?
Oh, well, I'd been. We come into a bit of money, and so we flew. Me and my mate flew like business class. Free.
Didn't take me.
No, I didn't. I wanted to enjoy myself, Matt. So it was free booze. Yeah, and we had to get out of the. We had to get out of the taxi 3 miles away from the hotel and walk it because I was being sick.
Oh no!
Start
we had a great time.
The
We went to the US Open. It was
what did you?
Yeah.
How was it?
Amazing.
Did you actually manage to watch some of the game?
Yeah. Because we were quite lucky actually because the night session from the night we landed got rained off, so we got to see both semi-final sessions, women's and men's, the next day.
Oh wow!
Serena Williams losing in the semi-final. It was good.
Oh, well,
not good.
Course,
actually,
not good.
I
wanted her to win, but it was a good day. It was a good day. Yeah.
I was at I went to the London 2012 Olympics and I went to Wimbledon, and it was so cool seeing, the Olympics at this like historic venue. And I'll never forget, like it's so weird going to an all-day tennis event because there's really no breaks. Like they just go from like one match to the next to the next. So if you want to get like food or drink, you also have to like worry about missing part of it because they just keep going and then you're not allowed back to your seat until like a very specific time. And it was the longest match in Olympic history that day. It was Federer versus Ferrer, I think. The double name very close to each other. So we were there the whole time, and by the time that was over, so many people like left to go get food and drinks that my friend and I ran all the way to the bottom. So we got like 4th row seats to see Serena Williams win. It was fabulous. And then Andy Murray played that night, and it was just a bit of a day.
Yeah,
won a gold medal.
Yeah, he won the gold medal, didn't he? That year.
Yeah, he did.
And then came straight back out onto court to play the mixed doubles straight away. Won a gold medal and then went, let's crack on.
Let's continue on.
Yeah.
And then lost.
Keep going.
Amazing. I love sports.
He's obviously not good. Yeah.
So speaking about sports, this is a good segue here.
Nice.
Steve sent me a photo showing the Everton players, and I guess Liverpool for that matter, because it was Derby Day, all having their Black Lives Matter names on the back of the jerseys and taking a knee. So has that been something that's been going on? And do you feel like the Black Lives Matter movement is like really making an impact over there in England?
So it was something that every club, obviously the Premier League was cancelled due to coronavirus, and it was a long time coming back. Once it came back, it was that weekend with the Everton-Liverpool game, and all the teams had decided amongst themselves and had obviously spoken to each other outside of any formal channels to do it, and had let the referees know. So the idea was the referee would blow the whistle to start the game, and all the players, including the referee, would take a knee for 10 seconds and then start the game, and they'd all taken their names off the back of the shirt and replaced it with Black Lives Matter. So that was the gesture that they did for the... It kind of timed well with coming back from the little COVID break and then going back to that. So that was what happened.
Sadio Mane didn't get the memo, did he?
Sadio Mane didn't get the memo and sprinted down the wing.
Yeah.
And it was the most lively look of the whole game as well.
Anyway, slowly walked back with that.
I didn't see that.
Just
and then spent the rest of the game in Seamus Coleman's pocket.
Well, you can have that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's how poor Everton have been celebrating a 0-0 draw.
It's caused quite a bit of a fuss, hasn't it, amongst the usual, right wing, Daily Mail, Brexit idiots. Pardon my French, because they're just the thing with we didn't want to get too political, did we? But the thing with these the Brexiteers and the right wing side of stuff is all they ever go on about is, oh, free speech, blah blah, free. I'm free to say what I want. As soon as you say something they don't agree with, no, you can't say that.
Furious.
And you go you can't have your cake and eat it. You can't want. I'm free to say my racist, xenophobic views, and stuff like that. And the Blitz spirit, VE Day. It's the same way. All these people were out on VE Day, in the streets, dancing, celebrating. Yeah. As soon as people dare demonstrate the right not to be murdered in the street or stopped and searched, and have their basically all they're protesting for is equality. It's bonkers, isn't it? It's the same. Exactly the same thing that's been going on for hundreds of years. All they want is the same treatment, and yet people go. Oh, it's the same when people go keep politics out of football. Why? That's like going keep politics out of my life. I don't want to know what's going on. You should it just annoys me. People want to just isolate themselves in this little ball and pretend things are okay. And oh no, if I ignore bad things going on in the world, it won't affect me. It's you can't do that anymore, can you? You've got to.
It's a really weird opinion as well, because where else do they expect significant and influential black members of British society to speak? Yeah. Because there's not very many black voices in politics. There's not as many black voices in film and TV. You look at sport, especially. You think of who are the influential black people in British life today.
Sport and music
goes to sport and music, 100%. Yeah. And then you say, well, Stormzy can't say these things on the Glastonbury Pyramid stage, or Raheem Sterling can't come out and say these things in the press, or Marcus Rashford can't, fight to get kids fed. That's a disgrace. Where else do you expect these people to speak up?
I think the whole issue, from my point of view, has yet again, though, showed, and I think it's something that you see in America, how polarized we are as a nation. We were split, even Remain, right and left. And I think you would think, that this might be an issue sort of we could all get behind. Mm-hmm. It's not in this country. I think we're living in such a politically and therefore socially a really weird time in this country. And it's not actually very pleasant.
No.
It's personally, that's how I feel. I mean, I've always been, I've been politically active since I was a kid with my mum.
Yeah.
And, she was she believed in equality and fairness. And
well, she was a Labour councillor, wasn't she?
She certainly was. But it's just, I just find it quite disheartening, to be honest. I get quite down about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am, some of the views that I read, and I came off Facebook, and sometimes I'm on Twitter and I read things, and I'll text Matt and say, oh, I'm getting into an argument with someone here. You don't want to say, you don't want to be horrible to them and say, like, are you for real, mate? Like, is this a wind up? But some people are just like, I don't know, it's just, some people aren't very nice. And I like to surround myself. And I suppose it's quite a childish thing in a way. I like to try and surround myself with nice people and try and block out all the nasty, like I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah. And it used to be easier. It used to be easier to just block out those people.
You know, I'm happy to debate people like anytime people want to have a debate, but I find it like exhausting trying to, because I find their viewpoint often so abhorrent that I think, what's the point in me wasting my breath? They think the same about me. Why would they waste their time on me? So
yeah,
I don't know. I think
that is happening though, like a lot, especially in our country, and it sounds like there are a lot of similarities going on with just like
100%.
the way of the world. And there is that a lot of people are saying like you can't, to be silent is to be complicit. So you do have to like speak up in a lot of ways, but also I don't think there's anything wrong with surrounding yourself with good people, but also educating others that might not be as into equality.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I've tried so many times. I used to get into debates on the Guardian Facebook page. Honestly, my blood pressure would go, and I think, yeah, I've done my like fair share of like trying to fight what I consider to be a just cause.
Yeah.
Many levels, and now I'm like, I just you know, I don't understand how people can have an issue with a group of people wanting to be treated equally.
Yeah.
For me, I can't get my head around it. They're not asking for more rights than you.
No.
They just want to be treated the same as you. You know, but that's people
it's the same with LGBT, isn't it? Like literally all they want is the right to be able to marry their partner. That's it. They just all they basically want is to be as miserable as us, straight people.
Yeah.
That's it. Give them the chance.
But then, do you remember the fuss about that at the time? Oh, they want
huge.
It's not too many rights.
They want the same rights. Yeah.
But, you know, but then you have that argument with people. Like it's the
thing is that like we've spoke about it before, us three. Like the parallels right now between America and the UK, it's insane. It's like a Black Mirror episode. You've got a complete right wing buffoon in charge of both. Just every day is a new level of ineptitude and a bumbling, and you just think, how can this go on? And the left, obviously the Democrats and Labour here, who are the opposition, just can't seem to get
their shit together. Yeah, that's true.
And it's just like you look at Corbyn and Bernie Sanders. They may as well be the same person. Like it's literally the same thing going on, and it's both countries. It's like America. You've heard of trying to one up each other. We're trying to like one down one another every day. It's like America sinks here, and we're like, think you're low. We'll go even lower than you. Let's do something absolutely prepositorous.
Who's winning the race? Who's winning the race to the bottom? Do you think?
I honestly think America. Like the more that I see, I don't know if you watch. Go on.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I think we've got an absolutely inept government with a lot of views and policies that I can't stand. But I think, I think that you might have like, I think the guy that's running your country, I think he's a lunatic.
He is.
I also think, but I also think he's no, but I think he's I think he's dangerous.
Yeah.
I know, and I don't think. I mean, a lot of these policies of our government might be dangerous to groups of people, but on a world level, it's kind of hard for me to get my head around. Like, and I was reading a really interesting piece about Melania. Is it Melania? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, his wife. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to think that she was like basically quite sound, maybe, and like she'd got herself into like a marriage where she was like, God, what have I done? You know, people make jokes about her having been, you know, blink twice if you want saving and all that.
Right.
But apparently she's just as bad as him, apparently. She's not. So I don't know.
But the thing with her is, she is literally by like the "Make America Great Again" stuff. She's an illegal immigrant, isn't she? Isn't she a second generation? Like her parents weren't born in America, were they?
It's very hypocritical, as you were saying before. It's so hypocritical. What about all the immigrants? And then,
Well, here's one for you. Another parallel then under the immigration bill that's just been passed here. Priti Patel, who is our Home Secretary, her parents wouldn't have been allowed into the country. You know, I can't even. I was going to really swear then, but imagine that. What sort of level? I mean, is she thick? Anyway, is it? Oh, honestly, mate.
Do you know this week? Donald Trump called Angela Merkel stupid. The woman has a doctorate in quantum chemistry or something insanely studious, and she's stupid.
Can you imagine? Right, the world leaders have probably got a WhatsApp group, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just for doing stuff, and they've definitely got a new one without Trump in. They've got world leaders without Trump. Yeah. They must just go get together for like the summit, and they'll just be like, Jesus Christ, what you're like. Just Merkel's texting, I don't know.
Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand.
Cheers, standing in.
She's good.
Great. What a leader. Justin Trudeau in Canada, and they'll just be like, God, I have to sit next to him there in that summit.
He's had his issues, hasn't he, in the recent? Well,
yeah, he's been in the news a lot.
Yeah, he was
good-looking guy.
Great-looking guy, absolutely.
Good-looking guy. Yeah.
So, do you find that it does get political in your podcast sometimes? That like even if you're talking about music or sports or entertainment at all, that always sometimes goes into politics, and that, like, as you were saying, you can't really separate them, especially now because there's so much in the news.
I think it's always in the back of your mind, and I think there's always something happening in music or any entertainment really that is that can ring back around to politics, and I think it's always been that way, actually. I think a lot of entertainers and people who maybe have their pulse on other human emotions a little bit more than others are just a little bit more willing to use the platform to try and say, this isn't the way it should be. And I think people have said, oh, stick to radio, stick to TV, stick to sports, stick to whatever, stick to your lane and don't talk politics. I think they've been saying that since forever, probably.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I subscribe to a thing called the Wrestling Observer, and it's a wrestling, and they do a newsletter every week, and they do daily podcasts. And he's been writing. He's very liberal, left wing. The guy who writes it, Dave Meltzer, and Brian Alvarez, the other guy, and they speak for the first 10 minutes now because it's effectively speak about the COVID crisis, and there's a lot of women in the sport of wrestling at the minute are speaking out about sexual harassment. So there's a big Me Too movement going on there. And they're speaking about that. And they're obviously speaking about, because different states are opening up. Like Florida, there's that huge second surge. And that's where all the wrestling's been taking place. Because of is it DeSantis? Yeah, he opened up and he was all this blasé stuff. And people have been complaining. It's the same with celebrities on Twitter, like you say. People have been going, I don't subscribe to you for your political views and your views on the COVID crisis. I want wrestling news. And they're going, but it's intertwined. Everything is intertwined. It's like when a celebrity tweets. We've got a celebrity over here called Gary Lineker. He was an England footballer. He was like the leading England goal scorer before Wayne Rooney. And now he presents all the football. And he's very outspoken on Twitter. He's quite liberal, isn't he? Quite left wing.
Yeah, I like him.
He seems like a good guy. He speaks up about things, and he's normally on the right side of stuff. And a lot of the time, the first tweet underneath will always be, "Shut up, Gary." I don't care. Yeah, stick to football. He also famously soiled himself in a World Cup game. So the second comment is normally, "You pooed your pants against Holland in Italia '90." So there's that.
That's a rough blow.
It is, isn't it? But it's just, you said about the music, Steve. I think music, especially music, sport, entertainment is always intertwined with politics. But music, especially, is always of its time. So you look at like the punk movement of the late 70s, early 80s, when the UK was just in a complete state because of the Tory government. And that was a really aggressive type of music. And you can almost see that the types of music that come along suit the mood in the country at the time. I mean, what's it like? What is the view? Obviously, New York is almost one of the most liberal cities in the world. But what is like? We watch the news and we see Trump say something stupid, and you almost become desensitized to it. But it's actively affecting you. So what is it like as a US citizen now in New York? Just going, what can we do? You've got 4 months till the vote in October, November.
There are certainly days that it is so rough that you don't even want to think about it, and you know that that's not a luxury to not think about it. You know, like I'll never forget the day I was working at Comcast Sportsnet, the day of the election. So I was in a TV studio for sports, but I couldn't necessarily be like keeping up with the election results. And when they were like, it looks like he might actually win, it was like, okay, stop, right? Like, ha, 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 so funny. And then I get out of work at 11 p.m. and everyone is just like not happy. And the party I was going to go to, they were like, yeah, don't even come. Like we've stopped everything. And it's just felt like you knew that it was going to be bad if you had like any idea of civil rights and caring about empathy of others. And I remember like crying the next day and people being like, that's so over dramatic. And like, it's not though, because you just know how much work we've done to get to the place that we are. And I feel like that's coming out now, like especially now with the police brutality, that it's just like, you know, it's weird as someone who's in the media, but I'm not in necessarily like the mainstream media, or I'm not in the big NBC, New York Times, like what they publish, when they don't share the peaceful protest, and when they don't share the fact that in a lot of these instances, like the police are actually the ones fighting first, that's the harm, because we need police reform. We need police budgets to not be $6 billion. And then you say that you're cutting 1 million and you're like, oh, look at the reform we're doing. I'm sorry. Do you see how many teachers have to buy their own books and supplies? Do you see how the homeless population could really like use some more help? Do you see how arts and education, you have Broadway and a lot of these actors who provide so much support for all of us when we need that type of break, or even Netflix, right? Like people want their artists to be able to enjoy, but they don't want to pay them and they don't want to support them. And I feel like that's, especially being in the arts and a Broadway reporter right now, that's like the most infuriating thing, is to see all of these Black deaths and the Black trans deaths and people just not talking about it. And then them being like, oh, we cut a little bit of money. Ha ha ha, here you go. Or like, oh, we changed the name of something. Or, oh, we took down a Golden Girls episode. I'm sorry. That's not what we're talking about. Defund the police.
Yeah, and it's that. Go on, Nick. Go on, Nick. I insist.
Okay. Well, no, just an interesting point that SHO was making then, because I stay up to watch all the big elections, like I have done since I was like, quite young with my mum, and I watched that election, and I'll watch the one in November as well, certainly. Yeah. And I was deflated the next day, and with you saying how upset you were, I've like been similarly moved at election results, when especially ones where I've like invested a lot of time and sort of hope in them, I think, really. And I think politics does affect you like that, and I don't like the common sense part of my mind says, surely he can't win again. But then I see a lot of his supporters, and oh yeah, you can't say it, but they're absolutely mental, some of them. Some of the stuff, again, they're like, I find it hard to comprehend. But an interesting one that a quote after the election I heard was that Hillary was Trump. Trump was the only person that could beat Hillary, and Hillary, I can't remember what it was exactly, but was it because she wasn't a good candidate, or was she a good candidate? Is Biden a better candidate? I don't know. Maybe.
No,
SHO.
I think
have we lost SHO here?
It's what we said before of they just the opposition in both of our countries just can't seem to get their act together, and they need if the Dems had a 39-year-old male or female, sadly, probably you'd have to say now it'd have to be male. Do you know what I mean? The way the sad things go, but if they just had a charismatic, that's what it comes down to, really. You look at Clinton, right? Look at the way he got elected, playing his saxophone, ladies' man. You know,
if bit too much of a ladies' man in the end.
A little bit too much. It wasn't just
too much,
and he wasn't just playing the saxophone. It turned out, so it's that thing. You just pray, don't you? That you think. Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with who's the. I follow her on Twitter. She's the Bronx Cortez.
AOC.
AOC. That's it.
Ocasio.
Yeah, and she now. If I was high up in the Democratic Party, which I'm not, you know,
more's the pity.
Yeah, I would be doing everything I could to fast track her to be. I honestly see no reason why she could not be president in the next 15 years. She's everything that the Dems need to be pushing.
I like that dancer. I like that. Good
dancer. Way up.
Good dancer. I like that video of her dancing. She's funny. Yeah. It's like good. She was dancing into her office. It was cool.
Yeah. The Republicans.
Go on, Matt. Sorry.
I was just going to say the Republican. Any tweet she does, the Republicans always just tweet back underneath. Go back to you were a bar. You were a waitress, and it's like, yeah, she was a waitress, and now she's that. That's literally the American dream. And yet you're saying it to her like she should be ashamed of the fact. It was like, oh yes, she worked a minimum wage job to support herself and her family. It's like these people.
Yeah, I was going to make almost the same point in that she's obviously, this is her first term. She's up for re-election. She's just won her primary again. But she's a brand new congresswoman, and there are senators and secretaries of state going after a freshman brand new congresswoman because they're that terrified of her, and they would say they're not, and they'll come down on her for dancing in a video or because she used to be a bartender or whatever stupid reason they decide. But the fact is they're terrified of her, and I think the best thing she can do is just, obviously she went to Congress, wasn't funded by any major money, so had all the time in the world to just be on every committee and be in every debate and just really stick her oar in and just get involved, which is obviously massive, and it will win a re-election. I'm pretty confident of that. But if she does that for the next 4, 8, 12 years, she'll also get the political knowledge that she doesn't have it at this point, which will come in so valuable when it comes to. I can understand why the Democrats would. Well, I think is she still too young to run for president at this election?
I think she's late 20s, isn't she?
She's still too young. Yeah. So I think maybe the next election she would be eligible, but I think that's still too soon. I think the longer you keep her in Congress, just stepping on toes and just disrupting as much as she can, and then 15 years down the line, you'd like to think she's the sort of leader. That's the sort of leader that New Zealand have now. Somebody that the whole country can be proud to have as their leader. And
is Biden a good candidate though? Is he? I mean, obviously he's better than Trump, but is he a good candidate? Is he the best the Democrats come up with at this stage?
No.
I mean, it seems as though everyone jumped out of the race to give him a clear path, didn't they? Because they didn't want Bernie Sanders. But
it's a complicated thing, as are most things. You know, like I think there were a lot of people like myself very passionate about Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Like either one of them had their like very passionate bases. And then Biden kind of came up and was like, well, I'm the best bet at beating him because I kind of am
like
more in that line.
A unity candidate almost, wasn't he, sort of thing?
Yeah, but the problem is you also then take out some of the passion. So like while people were really rallying and they were door knocking and texting and, you know, all these things for these candidates, that's the only scary thing about having someone like, well, that's not the only scary thing. I think some of his political choices and the sexual assault allegations,
I know. Yeah.
It's just like how is he the best that we got? And like him riding off of the fact that he was Obama's VP, like shouldn't just be your strong suit. There are a lot of problems.
No, I don't think he is the best the Democrats have got to offer. And if you could just look at the list and pick who you wanted and they were going to be president, I think I would probably have gone for Elizabeth Warren. And Matt Hibbert would be a close second, but as he's not quite high up enough yet. But I think Elizabeth Warren would have been a good choice. But I think it's that there's a very cynical thing.
I could have voted for her.
There's a cynical thing in American politics where it doesn't really matter who the best choice is. You just need to win the election.
Yeah.
And in every election, it just feels like you need to vote for the lesser of two evils.
Right.
It is important to win, though, isn't it? Because
so important.
Yeah, and but he's going to be 78 in November, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And that being in your 70s, there are people in the 70s who are very fit and they look younger. I don't think he looks young.
No.
I think he looks like an old 78.
Yeah.
I think he looks like, I'm
hoping for
I'm
a
halfway
one
there.
term and then a fresh second.
Right.
Like instead of finding someone for a 2-term as most times, you're hoping for, I think a lot of people are like, let's get the job done. Let's get him out of office. Let's get Biden in. And then let's see what fresh new face of the party we could get when we can dedicate this time into getting someone fresh. Let's hope, right? Like even with all of the horrible stuff that he's been accused of, it's like we just don't have a choice. Like you have to vote for him because the alternative is just not okay.
Because there's a lot of people who went from voting for Obama twice to voting for Trump, and that's obviously where they lost a lot of those Midwestern states.
Right.
If they want to pull those back, who better than to pick Obama's vice president? You're basically trying to appeal to those exact same people. You'd only need to flip 500,000 votes across 3 states to win the presidency.
I was going to say, I don't remember how close was the 2016 election.
Well, Hillary Clinton won by 3 million votes.
So if we just got rid of that stupid electoral college over there, we would have Hillary as our president.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Hillary Clinton and Bill? You do know that they, you are familiar that everyone knows what the Clintons do with small children. You're not familiar with this. Everyone knows it. I've read it on the internet.
Are you talking about the pizza ring?
Oh, open your eyes, sheeple. I saw someone. I'm just going to get this. Someone sent me something today in the WhatsApp group, and I'll just give you a quick. Steve, you're in the group, aren't you?
Yeah.
What Danny Caddle sent us today.
Yeah.
Let's name check him. And I'm not having to go. You can't see it, but it's a huge, big, ridiculous, like spreadsheet thing with just lines. The Clintons and very suspicious deaths. Just coincidences, right?
Just a long list of people that
just for instance,
killed.
Well, they have definitely killed them. See, we know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Let's just pick one. Charles Meissner, Assistant U.S. Secretary of Commerce under Bill Clinton. Death, plane crash. They've spelled plane, Plain. So, not really, haven't spell checked. Yeah, they haven't spell checked.
It just means as in a crash that wasn't, out of the ordinary. Just like a
very plain crash.
Yeah.
Not a red hot buffalo sauce style crash. And by the way, play white tees. Hey there, Delilah. Bloody good tune. P. When we get to P, get that written down. Hey there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the Clintons have murdered loads of people. Do you not know? Oh, well-known fact.
This conversation has certainly gone in a different way than I anticipated. And sometimes that happens. Live conversation.
Certainly gone over a different way than the Clintons were anticipating.
I know at the start you were saying, if you don't want to talk about any too heavy political topics, you don't have to. And I thought, there's no way. As soon as this gets onto politics, we're going to go down a rabbit hole and we're going to be here for hours because it might just be us, but it's also like a quirk of the area of the country we live in that Merseyside as a whole is quite a political place. It's a politically unified and always has been. And I feel like whereas you usually get younger people who are maybe disenfranchised, you don't get that as much in Merseyside, and you'll even find teenagers who don't know a lot about politics, but they do know that they're not a Tory, and it's
it's very similar to New York.
That's not enough for me. I want people to be. I want people to be, because it's, if you can say like, oh yeah, I'm a Labour voter, but I see some of the behaviour from these people that say they're Labour voters.
Yeah,
it doesn't represent what being a Labour voter is about. It doesn't, like, you know, things like going out and like and trashing places and stuff and leaving loads of litter. So the person who's getting paid £9 an hour has to come and do 8 hours work cleaning up all your rubbish. That's not a socialist way of existing.
No,
it's not.
The thing to do is to put your stuff in the bin. It's just an example, really. I don't think people are very quick to say, "Oh yeah, I'm Labour through and through," and I think, well, you might go and put your cross in the Labour box at the ballot, but do you actually live your life? You know,
do you just sign up to clause? Just sign up to clause 4.
Well, I'm far from perfect, and you know.
Say that again.
Well, yeah, I am, but I know I recognise that. But I think there are certain standards of living and being respectful to other people that kind of I associate with people who are like, I don't know.
Well, no, Nick, an example of this is in the last week, you've had a professional footballer has had to start a campaign to make sure that the Tory government provide free school meals to starving children. And it's like, on what planet is that policy need anyone to push it through? It should be a straight yes. It's the same as it'll never ever not be bonkers to me that any American citizen doesn't want universal health care. It boggles my mind that there's Americans out there who actively will be like, I will fight to the death for the right for me to, and you just want to shake them and go, look, the NHS might not be perfect in this country because of years of malnourishment through Tory underfunding. The Labour governments of the past haven't been great with them either, but that's another question. But there's still, like, I can't even imagine. I've seen documentaries about it as well, that there's Americans who have died at home because it came to a choice of they couldn't afford to not go to work. It was a case of, they could either, well, if they stop going to work, they'll lose the job, and then they won't be able to afford to go to hospital, but they couldn't afford to go to the hospital to get treated for, and these are like things that started off with minor illnesses, minor ailments that over this country, you'd go to doctors, get a prescription, sorted over there. And it's just these people.
Well, and the COVID crisis is just showing how absurd the lack of care for our citizens are. And I think that my opinion on like a lot of things I think have shifted due to the fact that like the rich just keep getting richer and the poor just keep getting poorer. And like they're like, if, Jeff Bezos wanted to do anything, he could, right? And like a lot of these crazy wealthy Americans who could help so many people with healthcare, with like homelessness, with making sure people can eat right now when they don't have a job, with like also canceling rent right now because people don't have a job. There are just so many aspects right now. Like just this one other thing, and I don't know how much time. Do any of the three of you have like a strict, like you got to go?
No.
I was meant to be in bed 4 hours ago. But...
Yeah, wait, what time is it there?
11:10.
Oh, that's not too bad. It's Leo. My adorable dog has joined us. Is Enzo there?
Yeah, somewhere, yeah.
Oh my God, Enzo's so cute. If y'all haven't seen a picture of Enzo, I will post a picture after this because he's the cutest little fluffernutter. Oh, obsessed.
He's not little.
No,
yeah, it's not letting him about him.
Big fluff. The hair is so
cute.
Sorry, I love dogs so much. Easily distracted by them. But someone I had shared this like petition to get funding for artists and to keep the unemployment going past July. And some of my friends who I had to unfriend because they just don't care about people were like, well, it's absurd. Like, people shouldn't be making more during unemployment than they get normally. And like, I don't qualify, so you shouldn't get it. And it's like, well, like, some people just need to like eat, or like, you know, they need to function. And I'm sorry that you don't qualify, or I'm sorry that your boss doesn't pay you as much as they should. And that's a different issue, and you should get paid more, but you shouldn't be upset at other people attempting to live.
Yeah, it's that battle of somehow in America and in this country, the Republicans and the Tories here they've managed to turn the working class against themselves. Yeah. And suddenly you've got like people now, like you say, who they're not asking for money to be able to go on holiday. They're asking for money to be able to pay their rent and feed themselves and their children. Nothing extravagant. They just want to be able to literally survive. And there's people going, oh, you hear it all the time when there's like people on benefits in this country, and you hear people go, why should we pay our taxes so that they can go and buy 20 cigarettes, get the Sky TV, the satellite TV? And you go, that's not true. What, you stop reading the Daily Mail and all these hate-filled, you know, it's like, right, Fox News in America, how on earth, right, is like, you've got buffoons like
come on,
Hannity,
Tucker
Carlson. I mean, where do we
Tucker
even
Carlson's
start?
watching, and I assume he listens to your show. I assume he subscribes. If he wants to have any of us a straightener, we're more than happy, aren't we?
Hang on, could I fight him?
Yeah. You can. You just stand at the side, hold a sign. Down with this sort of thing.
Careful now. It baffles me that, like, how is
that was excellently done. That.
How is like,
did you enjoy that?
I did.
How is Fox News like allowed to report the stuff it does? Like, most of it is completely it's bollocks. It's not.
There's no ethics.
It's not true. Exactly.
An entire semester's course of ethics and journalism, and it is bonkers that they are allowed to just say things and report things that they are fully aware are not true. And so they're just spreading this misinformation that gets people killed.
Yeah, it quite literally is getting people killed. And I don't know if you watched Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Yo, his one with the Black Lives Matter and defunding the police was epic.
Like, it's the best show on TV. Everyone should go and watch it. But he's from The Daily Show, and there's the clips I keep watching there's the clip of the guy from The Daily Show, and he goes to the Donald Trump marches.
Oh, yeah, you shared that. Yeah.
I shared it. It was like a 9-minute clip. And these people, like you say, Nick, you get into arguments with people about politics. There's no hope with these people.
No,
they literally say, would anything stop you voting for Trump? No. And they go like, what if he murdered your entire family in front of you in cold blood?
No
problem. There's no. They wear these oversized, massive red hats. You just think it makes you just think like, am I even the same species as these people? Because there's just they just won't listen to facts.
And if I see someone with a red hat, even if it's like a parody one, I can't handle them because the anxiety just like is up there when I see that red with the white. And like, even if it's like, make blah 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 blah, you're like, it doesn't matter because it's not funny because people are dying.
No. It's
yeah, I think like it is important, and it's part of like even why I have this series to talk about things like other than just Broadway and theater, which is like what my like main coverage is, and like talking about, you know, the way a lot of Black actors have to battle their way to get to roles, or trans actors who just have to be seen as human, as a person, and then we can talk about them getting this role, or like all of these things about how people just don't see people as humans, that they see them as lesser. And it's important to like say, no, like trans women are women, Black people matter. Of course, all lives matter, but we can't say all lives matter until Black lives actually matter way more than they have been presented, and until there's equality, and not just diversity, but actual equality, that people get paid the same amount. That it's just like there are so many aspects of life that now is the time to like take a stand. And I don't know about the three of you, but I am a huge Hamilton fan, and I'm very excited for Disney Plus on Friday. And so many of those topics of Hamilton are so relevant today.
You know, Hamilton's allowed, well, Lin-Manuel Miranda's allowed to say one fuck on Disney, isn't he? And we haven't been allowed to say, we haven't done any fucks on this, apart from them two.
Oh, so close.
But he can do one. He's got three. He's got three in the show, but he can do one.
And one of them is so good.
Is Hamilton getting shown on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Have you seen Living Under a Rock?
Do you know what? You're not.
All she watches on Disney Plus is Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, and Sunny with a Chance, is it? Oh no, Sweet Life. She's started watching now.
Zack and Cody.
Yeah.
How many times did they say the F word in those shows?
No, not enough. Not
enough for me. Yeah.
I think there was a few in Hannah Montana.
Yeah, I bet there was.
Yeah. She went off the rails.
Worlds. Beep.
Big fan of Miley Cyrus, aren't you, Matt? We're gonna see. We're gonna see that backyard session in your week.
Yeah, the Dolly Parton one's going in mine, definitely.
Yeah.
I just, do you know what? Like, it's got me down, this conversation.
I know, I'm so sorry. This is supposed to lift you up, so let's like. Beep.
Yeah, like. I'll tell you, Nick,
recording Podballs gets me down. So
yeah, it gets me up.
Gets you up. Yeah.
Here's a Broadway question then for everyone. SHO, I'll ask you: if you could any film, if you could pick any film and get a Broadway musical version of it made, what would you pick?
A lot of people talk about this, and I was just rewatching Wonder Woman. I'm a huge fan, and I feel like that could be really fun to see how they like flipped as the Amazons, like with the bows and arrows. Like that would be really cool choreography. And I think like special effects these days, even like live in the theater, are pretty cool. I would love a superhero movie comic turned into a musical. Like they did try Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. There were some issues with that. It is no longer playing. And I think it would be really cool to have like a Wonder Woman or a Supergirl. Those are just my top two. How about you?
Back to the Future did get done, and it was supposed to be on now in Manchester. Like during I think it was a 6-month run, but obviously it's not on. What my two choices would be My Cousin Vinny. You've got to have Joe Pesci in it and Marissa Tomei.
I'd watch anything with Joe Pesci in.
Well, anything with Joe Pesci in, and also like I fell in love with like the New York accent on a woman thanks to Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny. Or I think This Is the Money Shot, right? Yeah. Broadway musical, The Mighty Ducks.
Yo.
Imagine the numbers, the big song numbers you could do with the whole team and the hockey sticks.
Quack, quack, quack,
quack. Get Emilio Estevez in. He'll do it.
That was a good.
Charlie Sheen, get his brother in as well. Sheen, he'll come in and do it. What about you, Nick?
Probably
not a film guy.
No, I'm not really a film guy. You know, not really. To be honest, I'm not really a musical guy. I'm not really sure what I'm doing on this podcast.
Not really a guy, are you?
People probably listening to it are also thinking the same thing. What's he doing? What's he doing on here? I don't know, but I can tell you, when I went to New York, I went to see 2 shows or 2 plays. So I could maybe run them past you. Sure, heard of them? The first one was really good. That was off Broadway. Well, they were both off Broadway, actually. And the first one was really good. It was called Is He Dead? And it was a play by Mark Twain. And it was about a painter who had to fake his own death so his paintings would become more valuable. And that was amazing. And then the second one I went to see was, I mean, I was hungover, but it was honestly, it was one of the worst. And I mean, say we've recorded, have we recorded 8 Podballs? Have we?
No, like
no,
13. 13, yeah.
Am I going to be really nervous with what you're going to say?
No, not at all. No. So we'd been out the night before, and we were queuing up, like to queue. I think we were going in a shop or something. I was going in the Levi's shop in Times Square, and then I went to Tony, go and see if you can get tickets to go and see something this afternoon. And he came back with these tickets, and he went, "Yeah, I've just bought these tickets for us." Like I love like murder mysteries, like Agatha Christie's and everything. And he came back with it. It's just like that. Honestly, I don't know what the theatre was. It was, and it was like you had to go in an attic to get there. It was honestly, it was absolutely. I was sweating. And we were on the front row, and I was so cramped I had to put my legs on the stage.
No, you didn't. You can't do that.
I did it. Sure, I went there. There's only about 8 people in the audience.
What was it called?
I can't remember what it was called. Something about
In the Heights or something. You're
gonna
gonna say something really offensive now.
No, I can't remember what it was called. And but anyway, you could get like a key ring after with your photo on. We did, but Tony, at the interval. Have you seen that episode of Friends where they go and see that play?
Oh,
yeah. Everyone gets
Joey's
off.
play.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Tony got off at the interval, but like literally just dived out at the last minute and left me sitting there on my own. God, it was the worst thing I've ever seen. I can't remember what it was called, but it was awful. But the play, the Mark Twain play, was amazing.
You got one good one.
Yeah, 1 out of 2, not bad.
Steve, how about you?
If I was gonna make 2 movies into Broadway plays, very simple answer. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The Matrix.
Yo.
Not seen either of them.
Oh, for God.
Not seeing it.
So there is a stage director's dream out there being able to create bullet time on stage.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that would be cool. The way that they do the bullet in Hamilton, not intentionally bring it back to it, but just a moment that like it is super cool how they like use the movement, the choreography of this dancer as the bullet to like throughout the musical until like the very end. It's really cool. You do have Disney Plus over there, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what they have been doing over here actually? And I'm annoyed with myself because there were a couple of plays that I wanted to see and I missed them. But the National Theatre have been doing this something called National Theatre at Home on YouTube.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a couple that I really wanted to see and I missed them. And I'm so annoyed with myself for missing them. But I thought I love going. One thing I do, actually, I'm not really into musicals, but I love going to the theatre. Another thing that off my mum, and we've got Matt's got his hand up.
What happened the time, Nick, you were in that theatre group that you were charged with buying the tickets for the show at the theatre?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
It was horrible, actually. I've never felt panic like this before. It was a Friday night, and we were going to see, is it Mousetrap or The Mousetrap? The Agatha Christie one?
Yeah, Mousetrap.
The longest running one now, is it? Anyway, we were going to see that, and it was a Friday night, and I'd organised it all. And it was about an hour until we got to meet them. Went to get the tickets from the mantelpiece for the Thursday.
Horrible.
It's horrible. My heart sank.
Someone should write a play about that.
Yeah. But it all turned out okay anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love going to the theatre, and we've got 2 sort of sister theatres here. I know we've got Royal Court and the Empire, but I'm not particularly keen on the Empire really. We've got the Everyman and the Playhouse, and they put on some amazing stuff. They have a lot of touring companies that come there. I don't know if you heard of Spy Monkey. They might just be British, known in over here, but just some they have some great stuff, some really quirky stuff, some interesting stuff, some political stuff. I saw Michael Moore there many years ago. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I love going to the theatre, just not massively into musicals.
So
well, Steve, I think I told you when I saw you in Liverpool last year that I went to see Anne Juliet, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
Like, that's my type of music. Give me some 90s, and I will, like, 90s and with a very clever script and well done and big choreography. Like, I love those larger than life musicals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Da-na-na-na-na. Bam, bam. Very good.
The 90s was the ultimate era for music, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know this Hamilton, the show? So it's a biopic of Lewis Hamilton? Is it?
Yeah, F1 driver.
That's what I'm presuming. It's like because he's quite an arrogant man. He's written is it like the history of like Formula One? That's
you're just trying to take the mick, aren't you?
He had Senna,
no.
He was like,
That's what I think. He saw the Ayrton Senna documentary and went,
I can have a bit of that.
Yeah, I'll go one up.
Yeah, and he's gone. You know, how many Formula Ones has he won?
I don't know.
Loads.
7, 6.
Yeah, 7. Oh, so it's probably going to be quite a long play.
Yeah.
I might watch it on Disney. Disney Plus.
If you come around to it, could be good for you.
I guarantee there'll be someone who thinks it is about Lewis Hamilton, won't there? My mum actually said before, like when I said we were doing this, and I said you'd had like the Hamilton people on, and my mum went, "What's Hamilton about then?" And I went, "I haven't got the time to go into it." Like,
I know. I have had people who have never heard of it, and
I've heard of it. I know nothing about it.
Well, but that's at least you've like heard of it.
Yeah,
I just couldn't imagine being at this point in our lives in 2020 and like not even being somewhat aware of who Lin-Manuel Miranda is, like just not having any context that Hamilton is this like incredible musical that has like so many tours going on and is on Broadway and the West End, and they're putting it in Australia, you know, like it's just, and now going to Disney Plus. Ooh, I love that musical so much. Actually, my boyfriend took me to the Hamilton on the West End for my birthday, and we were like right in the center. And when they like rushed towards you, it was like, oh my goodness, it was such a good experience.
How many times have you seen it?
I have seen Hamilton 8 times.
Wow.
How many times have you seen Freestyle Love Supreme?
Preem. Probably 13 or 14 times. So
I'm more than that.
How many episodes of Podballs have you listened to all the way through?
I've listened to all of them actually.
All the way through?
Yeah.
Wow.
Someone's got it.
Sometimes we don't even record them all the way through. We just give up halfway.
You just give up.
I'll piece it together.
Yeah. No, it's entertaining. And then if you guys just like have a little like sidetrack or whatever, then you get some music and you're like, ah, cool. We're back in it.
That's where we do most of our arguing.
Yeah.
I feel like woefully like ill-educated on music, on like just Broadway and musicals. I've seen Hairspray, which was great, but I'd seen the film with Zac Efron, and he sings a song in that called Lady's Choice.
Yeah, Lady's Choice.
Dun, 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 dun. Hey, little girl with the cash to burn. And that became, it was an ex-girlfriend of mine, and that was the ringtone on her phone for me, was that. And it became like a running joke.
Yeah.
So like I took her to see that in Liverpool, and I was so excited to hear that number. Yeah, it turns out that was written specifically for the film, not in the musical.
And that's why you dumped it, didn't you, Matt?
I paid £9 for the program and was like, it's not in it. I've always wanted to see, and Steele back me up, like I want to see Jersey Boys next time that tours. Just for the accent. Just to hear
for the accent.
Just to hear 2 hours of New Jersey accents.
We're so opposite. Yeah. It is also interesting that, for everyone listening at home that doesn't know, the UK does programs that you have to pay for, and they don't give you like a playbill like you get here in the US, that like every show you go to on Broadway, off Broadway, they have a playbill, and it's, you know, a certain, I don't have any rights here because I am currently at John's place here in Washington State and not in my home in New York with all of my playbills. But yeah, that was very interesting that you have to like choose to buy it, but they're like proper like books and have like nice photos and like information.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
They're not even A4. This one was it was a big piece. It was a huge. It's obviously they must print them, and it's for the entire. It doesn't matter what theatre you're at, where you're in the run. They print them, and it's for the entire 6 months run.
Yeah,
pricey as well. It's like £9.
I know. We did that with Anne Juliet because, like I said, just became like instantly obsessed with it because they literally were like, what's a musical? How can we combine SHO's like favorite things, which is 90s music and musicals? And then they're like, Anne Juliet, and saw that on like the Thursday, and then we had Friday open, and I was like, so we're seeing Anne Juliet again, right?
This sounds like something I could see then. I love 90s.
So good. And it's really clever, right? Like a lot of times when they do those type of musicals, I feel like it can get into the like, oh, ha ha ha, how can we get NSYNC in there or Backstreet Boys? But they write it in and you hear the first notes and you're like, ooh, I see where you're going with this and I like it.
Cool.
I think maybe we should look into if it's going to come. Is it in the UK? Is it touring?
It's at the Shaftesbury Theatre in London. So when theatre reopens, who knows when? They were in Manchester before, but
Nick, pencil it in.
Get it in the diary.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be ages until the theatre reopens, which is
next year by the looks of things.
Yeah.
Really quite sad because, as I say, I even go with a couple of friends to our local amateur dramatics theatre sort of thing, and I enjoy that. I love murder mysteries. Like whether on TV or a book or at the theatre. So, it's really quite sad actually, and sad for all the people that are involved in the industry. Really, it's something that they should look at.
Yeah, it really is. Like here in the US for Broadway, they officially announced that no show can come back before January 4th on Broadway. But also, like, hopefully some of the smaller venues will be able to open before, like Broadway, there's so many aspects with like the actors, the ushers, the director, the people, the audience, right? Like there's so many people, but like, bless you. Some of the smaller venues where they can maybe socially distance more, that's being looked into. So I'm just like obviously we need to be better so that there's not another COVID outbreak before we have it. But it's still heartbreaking, right? Like you can hold both of those at the same time, that you wish it would come back, but you know it can't until there's a cure.
Yeah, but that's the boat I'm in with work. As a DJ, the nightclubs, they realistically, you can't open until social distancing is gone because there's just no way to police. Nightclubs, and it's the same as gigs, isn't it? It's about people being tightly packed on a dance floor or on a gig floor. But the thing with the theatres, which has confused me, it's the same in this country, is I don't see any reason why you can't open a theatre with a reduced capacity, say one person every 3 or 4 seats. If you can do it with the pubs are reopening now and restaurants, in what way is the theatre any different? Unless you're saying the performers are going to be performing, but they're doing the performances for TV, aren't they? And I imagine all the performers are being tested and stuff. So what if the pubs and restaurants can reopen? Why can't the theatres reopen? It doesn't make any sense, because for me it's the exact same thing of it. As long as you're seated, unless it's a cost thing that they can't.
I think it might be a cost, really, because
they need X amount in.
Yeah,
it's already not the best economic model, Broadway. Like it's already very difficult to keep shows afloat, and like that's why it's like this really bad cycle that shows are too expensive, so then not enough people can go, and then not enough seats are sold, so then they close it, and it just gets harder. Like I always do a lot of like, you can rush shows, or they have like 2-day ticks and you can get like or standing room or whatnot. Actually, like I got Stee and Kat tickets to see Freestyle Love Supreme, and like those you could get through Rush or StubHub, or I'm not necessarily the biggest. I have only like done StubHub once or twice, just because you're not guaranteed that that's actually like a proper ticket. But I think it is really cool for Broadway, at least, that you can like rush a show. And I was thinking about that earlier today. Actually, it's interesting that you brought up that point of the socially distance, because I wonder when Broadway does come back, if there are still going to be the options for like rush tickets, which is you go really early and you wait until the box office opens and then you can get a ticket or two.
Yeah.
And then they have like standing room and lottery. They're just like a lot of great options to see shows cheaper. And when it comes back, they're already going to be like clawing back from behind. So I don't know if any of those options are going to be open, but they'll also mean that it will be less accessible for people. So it's just this like really tough line of wanting Broadway and theater in general to come back stronger, but also trying to figure out how that works and making it more diverse on and off the stage. And there's just so many aspects to theater that people don't know about. Like I didn't know about until I like joined the industry. And they have had some like performances to like to empty houses, or similar with sports, right? That there's nobody in the stands, but like it's not the same, right? Like it's the part of going to a game or going to a theater is that experience of like being with your buddies or being with a significant other or family, or like even if you're by yourself, with which a lot of people like to do, it's like a moment to unwind and like put your phone down and just like be present in the moment. So I think there's so many aspects, right, to like those live experiences that if you can't do it properly, might be better to wait until there's like a very good option rather than like sprinkling it in. Just to
there's no real there's no precedent for how things like this reopen. It's new ground for everybody, so it's just a guessing game.
Yeah.
And you just have to hope that everyone goes into it with the best of intentions. But it's obvious that like, when things open, doing the right thing for the theatre, for the production, for the cast, for the company, for whoever, is not always going to be universally the right thing that, audiences want or whoever. So,
yeah,
be interesting to see.
Steve, I wanted to ask what you thought because of that Freestyle Love Supreme experience, and we were talking about Sis, who's actually been on the series and went up on that stage. Like, what was that experience for you?
So, all right, well, should we start? Do you want to explain what Freestyle Love Supreme is? Because you'll do it justice.
So Freestyle Love Supreme is this improv hip hop show that started many moons ago before In the Heights and Freestyle Love Supreme. Lin-Manuel Miranda, Anthony Viniziale, and Tommy Kail had this like improv troupe. And it really just started at the Drama Bookshop where In the Heights was being rehearsed. And they would just kind of like freestyle with each other and see where it would go. And then they started having shows, and then it would tour a little, and then it stopped for quite some time. Then last year, they brought it off Broadway to the Greenwich House Theater, saw it there a few times, and then it did come to Broadway, which was amazing, and had like an extended run than they were even expected to because they got a really good review. I covered opening night, which was really cool, and I've become pretty close with some of them. They actually have We Are Freestyle Love Supreme coming to Hulu July 17th. And I will insert plug here that I have some of the Freestyle Love Supreme members coming on this series that week. So stay tuned for that. So that's what Freestyle Love Supreme is. And then I took the Academy last year, which is super cool. So that's just like learning how to like freestyle and improv and all of those things, a little bit of beatboxing. And that's been really cool. Now, Steve, take it away.
So, SHO said we were going to see this hip-hop improv show. And my thoughts were... So, I immediately thought of like...
8 Mile?
No, not quite. I thought of like little geeky kids in like sweater vests and bow ties. No. We're going to get up and do some really cringy... Could we get a suggestion from the audience? And I'm happy to say it wasn't that bad. It was really funny, and they're obviously insanely talented at what they do. There was obviously some from the audience type of things, and so I can't remember the scenario, but it involved getting somebody up from the audience. Hands up. Do we have a volunteer? Obviously, loads of hands went up, and the volunteer that came up on stage, do you know?
Tupac.
No, like
Funny story.
This is the closest I've ever been to understanding what the term "grabbing the brass ring" meant, because I've never seen somebody given what was potentially a couple of minutes on stage at a Broadway show go, "I'm going to shoot my shot right now," and go for it. So, I mean, Sis was this larger than life character that came onto stage, immediately comfortable on stage, immediately back and forth with everyone on stage, no fear, just going for it. Throughout the course of her interaction with them, she happened to mention that she'd been to a job interview at Applebee's. So immediately thinking, okay, even if she's an actor, she's not a working actor, she's coming up in the industry. And then they did a very hilarious sketch. She was fantastic, full of character, and it was very memorable, and she stole the show completely. Fast forward, I don't know how long ago this was, probably, when would we be there? September. So fast forward 6 months, I suppose. Sis is on the Show Must Go Online discussing something. I'm just like, is that the same? Yeah, it turns out it is the same. But what happened between that show and the YouTube episodes, I don't know. I'm sure you can fill us in.
Yeah.
But it was quite a surprise.
That was phenomenal because, like Steve said, like sometimes the person that comes on stage, because it's completely, random and improvised. It's not like a set person goes up. Sometimes, like I've been to it a few times, sometimes the person who goes up is awful. Like they either didn't do anything that day or they're just like not entertaining. Not the case with Sis. Goes up, it's just like hilarious. Like I'm crying in my seat from laughter. So I go over afterwards and we like take a picture and we follow each other on social media. And then I'm like finding out that she's like living her best life and had like auditioned for certain roles on Broadway and is trying to get more connected. And in some ways doing exactly what I'm doing and just being like, this is my time. I'm not throwing away my shot. Like, who can I talk to? And it's just like, it's pretty cool. It's cool to see someone else like living their dreams and being like, well, let's see how we can boost each other up. That's a pretty cool time.
That's nice.
For all she did on stage was tell us what happened on a day. And she didn't even really have that much of an interesting day. She went to this job interview and it wasn't that good. She didn't think she was going to get it. Then she went and took some makeup back to Sephora. And then that was about it. But I don't know. When someone says you had to be there, it's kind of that. Like,
I thought you were going to say when you went back, like 6 months later, she served you in Applebee's.
Yeah.
And you were going to be like, oh, so you got the job then? Yeah.
Oh.
It's even more inspirational than that.
I feel like that's a better anecdote, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe in future, Steve.
Slide.
Because it's a steady job, isn't it? That really.
I've made a point of not lying about our anecdotes, though.
I was going to say, Podballs. One thing about the anecdotes on Podballs, all of them true.
Are you sure?
Well, so one thing about my anecdotes on Podballs, they're all true.
Oh, so I've been meaning to speak to you about that. So, who was it you bumped into in the tobacco shop in Birkenhead? Glenn Close.
Glenn Close, yeah.
Glenn Close, yeah.
Yeah, Glenn Close, yeah.
Wow.
Just so the fella just so happened to say close but no cigar when she asked for some Hamlet.
No.
Yeah. I was there, so.
What were you doing? Again, I ask now what I asked them. What were you doing in a tobacco shop in Birkenhead?
I've started vaping. I'm using it as a gateway to get into cigarettes. Once I've finished with cigarettes, I'm going to start smoking crack.
Yeah. Okay, but like
I'm not
just a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, living my best life. I'm not. I don't smoke. I never have. It's disgusting.
And it stunts your growth.
Yeah.
Steve knows my feelings on not smoking, which are don't smoke.
Yeah, I agree. My mum and dad before me and my sister were born, they were smokers, but they stopped. And my mum, when her family came out at Christmas, like my mum would have the odd cigarette, and it used to really upset me and my sister because we were very anti-smoking. So Neither of us have ever smoked. It stinks as well, doesn't it?
It does, but like I've never smoked properly, but then I've had the odd cigarette because there's no denying that it looks cool, doesn't it?
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Like,
super cool.
You walk into a pub, throw a pack of Marlboro Lights on the table. People know you.
Like, oh man, look at them.
I'm thinking about
check this guy out.
Like, you go into outside the bar in downtown New York. You're down by 5 down by 5 points, which is where 5 points was, and I'm just there, and I've got my little cigarette like this. I flick it like that. I've got one leg against the thing,
cool.
And then an overzealous policeman.
Yeah, I get an on the spot.
Next thing you know.
Next thing you know, what I'm getting nicked. I've got a night in the cells, and I've learned a lesson.
Night in the
Don't smoke.
Don't smoke, and if you do, don't throw your cigarette butts on the floor.
Yeah, that's littering.
And that's it. That's when policing can work. So that would be a good lesson for the police today.
Yeah, but then Nick, the whole time I'm so cool. There's some, Marissa.
And this is even cooler. You've spent a night in the cells.
I'm a complete nutter. I'm a rebel without a cause.
Look at you.
Exactly. I flicked it like that. I could do what? I could be on the cast of Jersey Boys tomorrow, like that with an attitude.
Let's make it happen.
Can you put me in touch after this?
I'll make sure.
You're looking at the platform that Matt's always wanted to become.
You are looking at the new Frankie Valli.
Yeah, certainly looking at something, mate.
The accent will just add that New Jersey charm from another country,
We can rewrite it so it's based on Merseyside, can't we?
Yeah, Birkenhead's basically the New Jersey Merseyside.
Yeah, but Birkenhead Boys will call it. It works for me. I mean, I don't know if SHO knows that I have written and starred in my own short film.
Is that true?
I've seen it. It's not that bad, actually.
It's definitely approaching the truth.
I'm the only person who's watched it, I think, that actually thought that's quite a good story.
Luke and Devin have watched it.
I did. I made Luke's in it.
Yeah, that's why he had to watch it.
Yeah, I did make my parents watch it on Christmas Day once. And
you should definitely send SHO the link so she can have a look at it.
Please do. It's going to be the same with this. We've been chatting for an hour and 41 minutes, and people are going to be like, a 2-hour video.
Yeah, this is not news to us. We go, let's keep this episode of the podcast under an hour, boys. 2 hours later.
It's
Nick, what's your second choice?
You get you get sidetracked, don't you? It's nice, like just having a conversation.
Normal people don't get sidetracked. It's just I blame Matt Hibbert, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I'll take that.
Certainly.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So I need to ask this very important question that I've already presented to Steve. Are we getting that Beatles episode?
Oh.
The original idea was that we go back and do some specials where we just pick 3 of our favourite tracks from one artist. We weren't necessarily thinking about the Beatles. I think the original plan was to do a Madonna episode, wasn't it?
Which we're rapidly approaching M. Yeah.
Well, I do feel that for us to... I don't think we deliberately didn't choose a Beatles one. Like, I love the Beatles, and I love loads of Beatles songs. I love their early stuff. I love the best of the Beatles.
I think the idea was always that we were trying to pick out songs that people hadn't heard, and we just thought everyone would know the Beatles. So,
yeah, but you are from Liverpool.
Well, over the water, me and Matt.
We're like.
Although I was born in Liverpool. Yeah,
to put it in perspective, it's like someone from New Jersey getting said that they're from New York. Yeah, exactly.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend.
I was going to say it is quite an insult. So yeah. But,
when I go to New York, I tell people that Paul McCartney's my uncle. So.
Amazing.
They always say, why are you dressed like a tramp? Doesn't he give you any money?
What would you have picked as your Beatles song then, Nick?
I would have picked quite an obscure Beatles song called "Cry Baby Cry."
Ooh,
it's quite.
I don't know that one.
I don't know. Yeah, I like. What would you have chosen? What's everyone's favorite song?
I'd have gone with "In My Life."
Oh yeah, that's a great tune. My and have that as a wedding dance. Beautiful song.
Mm-hmm.
SHO?
Matt. Yeah.
I'm not a big Beatles fan, to be honest.
Oh.
I do like Obla D. Obladi Oblada.
Terrible
It's a nice
choice.
one.
I think
Absolutely ridiculous. Might as well choose the yellow. Might as well choose Yellow Submarine, mate. You
not nonsense. No,
you
I only like
loser.
that.
I'm not voting for you to be president, mate. You're going to come up with nonsense.
I can't say Twist and Shout, can I?
I'd vote, but that wasn't originally theirs, was it?
Yeah, but the cover's still there, so
Yeah.
Twist and Shout was theirs, wasn't it?
it's
Well,
a
not
cover.
originally. It's a cover. You can still
I
choose
thought
it.
someone else covered it after they did it as well, didn't they?
No.
Blue. Plenty of people have covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I could choose one Beatles song. Like I have, I
It's
have
kind of how the
many
show works, to be
songs.
honest.
Yeah.
What?
That's kind of how the show works. You have to pick one.
Technically you have to pick 3, but I guess from different artists.
Ah, Show knows Podballs better than you, Steve.
Rich
And
coming
you're
from the
supposed to
pair who
have
picked
3 more in
NXS
your back
first.
pocket, just in case if someone else chooses it.
Yeah.
Always keep on.
It's like when someone says choose your favorite Beatles song. It's like saying to your mum and dad, choose your favorite child. And I remember we said that to my mum and dad, and they said,
Jess.
It's Jess, it's your sister. She's never caused us any grief.
Well,
She keeps her head down. She's given us 2 grandchildren. Well, my mum didn't say that, but yeah. So you've just been a drain on us, really.
Wow. Steve,
Sorry,
do you reckon your parents would say that?
I think you and Kat are both above me in the who are the favourite children.
I love your parents.
My parents are big fans.
Jess has definitely had boyfriends that have gone above me in the
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It annoys me, isn't it?
it's hard work, isn't it, being a bloke?
It is. It's hard work
Just the worst.
getting any love off your parents in this.
Do you know what, mate? I'll tell you. I'll say it right. Being a Caucasian male, aged 18 to 40, bloody hard work, mate.
Especially if you're over 6 foot, mate, like you and me.
I know.
That's probably
really the big problem going on right now.
Yeah.
Certainly.
white.
Underreported.
I wouldn't say it's the biggest problem, Joe, but it's certainly in the top one.
I would watch.
Tall, white, blonde-haired, blue, aged
Yeah.
18 to 30 men. We've got it tough, mate.
Yeah, honestly.
You've lived basically your entire life being told you're too ordinary, you're too the norm. We must
Too
change
plain.
Yeah.
Someone told me I was too plain, but they spelled it Plane. Too much like a plane.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing about being over 6 foot, male, white, is just having no redeeming features. That's it. Like, you've got nothing for nobody to like. Nobody likes anything about you. That's the only thing you've got.
You've got,
That's in specifically you, Nick. But yeah,
It's like my school report.
Nick must try harder to be interesting.
Right. Didn't sign up for this.
I'm so sorry that this has just become a platform where they
I'm sorry as well. I'm very sorry, Shay, but I expected it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I should have too. I listened to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't jumped on me as well, to be honest.
I think you're quite lovely.
Thanks.
Yeah, they all
love
like
you
it
too.
happens to us all the time.
sickening, mate, and it makes
Everyone
me
who
sick.
listens to the podcast is like, "Oh, Nick's our favorite. Nick's the best one."
Oh, well,
Not good people. A lot of people aren't good judges of character.
Well, I was going to say the public haven't got a good recent record with their choices, so it's continuing the theme.
Yeah.
Brexit, Trump, Boris, Nick.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's some pretty bad territory to be in there, bud.
Wow,
Well, okay, to wrap
things
up, I do want to talk about, actually, there are two things. I want to ask about if there's been a favorite moment on the podcast and maybe like a surprise song that like took you either by surprise that you were like, ooh, I did like that Hanson live rendition that was acoustic and one that I think about. That was A+. And then, Steve, we will talk about NJY Camps and them raising money. So just keep that in your brain after this. Take it away.
I'd say my favorite song from the podcast has definitely been one that I've chosen.
Of course.
No, I'm trying to think.
I mean, you both were quite taken aback by on the episode K, that Claw track that I put in Humanize.
Sorry, I was just going through my thing then, and K's was a good one for me.
Yeah. Well, it was.
K.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Can you not?
Shit. Oh God!
This is why they make fun of you.
See, even shows turned against you now.
That Casey Musgraves, I enjoyed that one.
That was a good track, yeah. Well, I think the thing that we've said that we've all got different tastes and interests. As the show's gone on, we've sort of taken more of a chance each and going, it's nice for us to come out of an episode and be like, I've never heard that song or that artist before. And Casey Musgrave was a good example of that. And
I really
it's nice, isn't it?
I've been listening to that one a lot, actually. I like it.
I'd never heard the Kings of Leon cover of Robin before either.
Yeah. It's good cover. Not as good as the original, but good cover.
Yeah, but I think I still... Well, I'm sure you picked one recently. And I was...
Whatever it was.
Well, not sure. Not too sure about that. The handsome one.
Gee, my things... Hang on, sorry.
What's going on?
Please tell
your dog? Is it your dog?
No, it's some music. I can hear a dog. Can anyone hear a dog?
Yeah, that's my dog.
Am I going mad?
I was like, can anyone else hear? Because Slim is just barking away. He hates when people go for walks around the neighborhood, which happens all the time, or like loud cars. And it's when you're the only one in this house and you're trying to do a live video, and sometimes you're like, Slim, please just take like an hour off.
It could be, I mean, in Washington, so it could be Donald Trump could be on his way to the church, couldn't he? Just
different Washington
State.
Oh,
thank goodness.
Different Washington, Matt. Oh,
would not want to run into him.
Oh, I don't know.
I'd show him a piece of my mind.
Yes.
Wait.
I think there's been some really, again, we try and do an eclectic mix, don't we, on the pod to try and keep it.
I like the covers that seem to crop up every now and again.
Yeah, well, that was the original plan for the pod, wasn't it? Like about 4 years ago, me and Steve had the idea, and it was going to be Unplugged. It was going to be called, wasn't it? And it was just going to be.
I think MTV might have got there first.
Yeah, no, mate.
I'm going to try this again.
Oh.
But then we had the idea to do a podcast called Punked. But then MTV.
Yeah, that was sort of.
Then we were going to do Total Request Live, and again, MTV.
We felt that honestly we were just like half step behind each time.
I like that. So
that's much better the second time.
I like it. I mean, when you say which bits of the podcast do you like and stuff, I like the bit where when Matt says let's wrap it up sort of thing.
Yeah. What, and then we talk for another half an hour.
Oh, I think the dog's a dog.
I like Nick's anecdotes, but
cheers, mate. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Not like that.
I appreciate having something to do with an afternoon, just chatting crap.
It's good. This is about it's midnight.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we'll wrap things up because y'all.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Oh yeah,
I'm at ease. I am totally fine.
I'm cool. I'm a cool friend. Well, I want to talk about the NJY Camps where C and I met and worked together as camp counselors. They're raising money because, as with most things going on, things can't go on. So this was supposed to be the 100th summer. It was going to be this like really exciting thing. Steve, do you want to like add any thoughts to that?
So when did we meet? 2009.
Yeah, about then.
So over 10 years ago, and you can probably imagine that they spend their whole year building up to summer, and they only have a handful compared to their summer staff. They only have a handful of full-time people. It's the directors and those kind of people, and I know they spend every year building up to a summer, but I know they've been building up. Well, my second year, they were already talking about the 100th year, and that was 10 years ago. So they've been building up to it for a long time, and to have it kind of snatched away from them at the last moment, like obviously there's a financial burden to it, which is they've lost basically their entire income stream for an entire year, which brings its own problems. But I can't imagine how heartbreaking it must be to just have that amazing plan that you've had been putting together for so long just taken away because of something that you literally have no control over.
I wonder if they're going to make next year like the 100th summer, because it will technically be like the 100th summer of
the same way they're doing the Olympic Games and saying it's the 2020 Olympics,
right?
Regardless of when it takes place.
The European Championships next year is going to be 2020.
I think it's fine to do that because it'll be the school.
And it wasn't because like you did something. Like it wasn't like a personal error that like, oh, we didn't promote it enough. It was like, no, there was a pandemic.
Yeah. I think
I know. I was heartbroken, especially because they've been doing this. They started last year with this alumni weekend, and Steve, like that would be so cool if you came back for that. I don't know. I don't remember if they like specifically had it as just like people who were campers, or if it was also if you were staff. But a few of us went back last year. We had like a little crew, Jackie, Heather, Jess, and we all went back. And like to spend a weekend in a cabin, like you're, a kid again, a teenager again. And then, they filled like a canoe with drinks, and then they had the jet ski and the water slide. I'm just saying that's a good way to camp.
Sounds dangerous to me. I'm out.
Yeah. Sounds
very responsible. Very responsible.
If it wasn't 3,000 miles away, I definitely would have been there.
I know.
Oh.
No,
it is crazy. It's crazy to think, like you said, how long ago we've met, but like with social media, like that you can actually stay in touch, and the fact that I've been to Liverpool twice and you've come to New York a bunch of times, like that's pretty cool that we've kept in touch all this time.
How long was it? 11 years ago, did you say?
Yeah.
When did Matt, how long have I known you?
Too long, mate. Too long, baby.
Because I think if I'd have maybe 20 odd years, maybe
15, I think. 15.
I reckon if I'd have pushed Matt down the stairs the first night I met him,
you'd be out of prison by now.
By now,
yeah.
I would have pled manslaughter, diminished responsibility.
Yeah. If you'd have killed,
we wouldn't
probably
be
been able
here.
to sell. Probably been able to sell that story to Netflix and made a few bob as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
The staircase. That's already a thing on Netflix, I think, isn't it? The staircase.
My friend Ashley, who is watching this, can you guys see the comments like I can? I don't know what it's like on the other side of the stream.
No, thank God.
So I had some friends watching. Yes. I doubt they're still here because it's been 2 hours.
Because it's been absolutely shite.
Been wonderful. But she had like this episode of Middleditch and Schwartz. Did you watch that? It was so funny on Netflix. You should check it out. It's hilarious. Similar idea to like the improv. They take a story, but like in this case, they just take one story and they do like this long, like 45-minute episode based off of like this one scenario. And it was her story. And that was like a Netflix special. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I think it was the second episode. It was the lawyer one. So just like, if you end up watching that, message me because it was hilarious and she's a good friend of mine. So that was pretty cool.
What was that called again?
Middleditch and Schwartz.
Okay.
Awesome. We'll check that out.
I tell you what, I have just American TV program I've just started watching. 90 Day Fiance.
Oh, you're one of those. You get into all that.
No, I don't normally.
I stay away from it.
But I tell you what, it is absolutely mental.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting because my job involves Nigeria, and there's been 2 Nigerian men who are marrying American women. So I've been interested in it actually purely from a professional
research
standpoint. Yeah. But it's absolutely nuts. What a program.
Goodness. Are there any other good US or Netflix TV shows or anything in general you've been checking out?
I've just finished. Well, a Canadian one. I've just finished Cardinal, which has Canadian, but that was very good. But I think Americans do great dramas. I think we do better comedies over here.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is that okay to say?
Well, just like there were 2 offices, I was like a huge fan of the original Skins back in the day.
Oh, I remember Skins. Yeah, God. I mean,
And then
my teenage years were not like that.
No, they weren't really.
But like it always felt like
Sitting in my room
watching
eating
it from
pasties.
here, you know, or like Misfits. I was really into
I
English
love Misfits as well. Misfits was great.
Right? That
Good
was
shout.
so good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Well, you had the In-Betweeners was a big show here, and they remade that in America.
I watched the remake.
Absolutely. It's one of those ones where the humor doesn't translate.
Right.
Whereas The Office, it's universal. Everyone's where, you know, but the In-Betweeners was such niche. It was British schoolyard comedy, which makes no sense. Do you know, there's a show I've been trying to get Nick and C to watch for years, Seinfeld. I want them to watch Seinfeld.
Because I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've just said that you don't do comedies, but I love Curb.
I think there are good options, just not necessarily if they were based off of an English or British like original. That's where, I mean, I haven't watched The Office that much either way, so I don't know, but I just know that's like the most common one example. But yeah, like they're just 2 different types of comedy, and sometimes there's not a good crossover, and sometimes there are.
Has there been a Home Alone the movie? The musical?
Like there have been multiple Home Alone movies.
No, has there been a Home Alone the musical?
I don't think so.
Well, there you go then.
With the original John Williams score.
The swinging, the...
And again, I'm the ideas man.
And Nick, you get a tick from me.
All of them bad ideas.
Joe Pesci's going to be in it, so I'm there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sold.
I suspect Macaulay Culkin could do with the money.
What a fella.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely guy, friend of the show.
Oh yeah, what a guy.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this earlier with the Spice Girls love, but I was thinking ahead that when S comes up, we've got 2 that are like just very personal for me. The Script were one of my favorite bands, and I've seen them 3 times, and I love them.
What's the Script one? She's all there alone in a local bar. Was that This Time? Is it This Time?
Yeah, she's home alone. Yeah,
the local bar. Whatever it is. Yeah.
Are they Irish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was on The Voice, wasn't he?
Superheroes or something?
Was he?
Yeah, here. I've been listening. it's funny when there's a band that you're like obsessed with for like years, and then you like haven't listened to them for a while, but then when you hear them again, you're like, brings back the good memories. I feel 100%. Like that's because like I don't have my iPod here because I'm randomly in Washington State, but like on my iPod, I have like 3 albums of the Script, you know? So like sometimes if I would just shuffle it, I'd be like, ooh, yeah, like I love this superhero song, and I love.
Yeah, I like that one.
That's a good one. And what am I supposed to do when the best part of me was always you? And
what we've said about music is it's one of those few things in life that you can hear a song and it literally takes you back to that moment in your life.
Yeah, a miserable part of your childhood.
Yeah, or you again being turned down by a girl in the Oxton.
Yeah,
whatever it might be.
Yeah,
just like random examples with no personal connection.
Yeah, not again, not having a go at you, Nick, in the slightest. But I'm just saying that, you know,
because who would?
Oh, no one, not me, certainly.
You'd certainly be surprised, Joe.
Nick would remember that one.
Wait, see, did you play an Arctic Monkeys song for A?
Yeah.
Okay, because I always think of you when I hear that band.
Yeah, I had the first pick on the first episode and immediately stole the song that Nick was thinking of. Or I stole the band that Nick was thinking of.
Yeah. Did I not pick an A1 in the end though?
I can't remember.
I can't remember what I picked.
Ash. I remember Ash.
Angry Anderson.
Yeah. Angry Anderson.
Do you know tomorrow? I know this won't mean so much to show, but tomorrow
not be Neighbours.
It's a Neighbours thing. Do you aware of Neighbours?
What?
Have you heard of Kylie Minogue? And Jason Donovan. No. Well, anyway.
I feel like I know that name, but I don't know why.
Okay. Well, I'm not. You know what? The story's going to die on its arse. I'm not going to bother telling.
No.
I mean, it was a bad story anyway. To be honest.
Oh no, Nick, go on. I want to hear it.
Just come on.
Okay. Well, Kylie and Jason, who are very famous over here, they're Australian pop stars and actors, and they were in a program called Neighbours, and they played Scott and Charlene. And tomorrow is their 32nd wedding anniversary, 32nd year wedding anniversary from the show.
What are you going to do to commemorate it?
I'm going to play. Well, I only thought about it,
especially for you,
Angry Anderson, because that was the theme tune from their wedding. That's what I chose. Anyway, forget that.
I knew that's a show.
I thought it was a bad story.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think I've heard of that show before I went to Liverpool last year, which is crazy because it's pretty popular, right?
Yeah, it used to be huge.
It used to be huge.
It's quite niche.
It's Australian. It's not even English.
Oh.
Is this going out live?
This is all live.
No, we can't edit out that neighbour's story.
Nick, I'm not having a go.
I feel as though pressured into
such a good story. I'm so.
No, I think that anecdote started badly, tailed off in the middle, and got worse towards the end.
Yeah, but do you know what, Matt? I think I was set up for a fall by you because you knew it was a shit anecdote. You knew it was a bad story, and you thought, "Oh, I'll make Nick tell it." And there's chances of making it big in America, which is what you fear, that I'll be poached by the Podballs US remake.
What Steve Carell plays Nick Roberts.
Yeah. The dog agrees, clearly. Anyway, that's it. Just, if this... I'm sorry about the neighbours anecdote. It's not that...
I tell you
my
what,
best material. That wasn't me in my best life.
One last one then, Nick. Okay, for us three. Okay. Okay, for us three. Who would you pick to play you in the Podballs US version? And SHO, who would you pick to play you in the UK version?
That's a good question.
Oh, that's a very good question.
You start.
Okay.
Well, probably play myself.
Yeah.
No, I think the obvious one for me is Owen Wilson, isn't it?
I can see that. Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Size of that.
I don't know who I'd choose.
Who's a big lanky freak actor-wise
in America?
Yeah, Steve Merchant.
Steve Merchant.
Doesn't it need to be someone American?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Right, because that's the thing. Like, I would love like an Anna Kendrick to play me. I feel like she gets the funny. They could make this like actually into a musical where she'd have a nice voice. That would be like A+.
Because SHO, you've got to pick an English actress.
I know. I'm just saying. Oh, can I test out my English accent? I've been really holding it off, but I felt like we've spoken long enough that if I didn't use it, then it would be really a bother.
3 months I grew up with this at camp.
Can someone call 911? I think SHO's having a stroke.
It was not bad. It's got my Hermione. Oh, Emma Watson. Boom.
That's a good choice. And actually, the accent is pretty good, actually.
It sounds like every single English character that's ever been in like any American TV show or film.
That's what you've got to work on.
I wonder why that's why my brain connects the two.
SHO, I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
It's a thumbs up from Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I make it a triple?
Steve?
Yes.
Nick, you still haven't, who's playing you? You still haven't said?
Oh, I don't know. God, name. You might as well just name someone.
Vince Vaughn.
Stupid anyway, aren't you? Name a big, lanky, freaky American. Come on.
Vince Vaughn. He's huge.
Okay,
Big SHO. The rest of the Big SHO.
Yeah,
Andre the Giant.
Piss off. Andre the Giant. You're out of order, Matt. This could be SHO. You've done what millions of laugh. You've killed off Podballs.
Right. While Steve gives his, I'll do some research.
This is the last version.
I don't know. I don't even know anybody who'd. Who do I even look at? I've got like no distinguishing features.
What about someone like Chandler from Friends, someone like that.
That's just because you've been insulted and we picked Andre the Giant for you.
What's wrong with Matt Chandler from Friends?
Matt Perry.
Yeah, you've combined the two. I like that. Matt Chandler.
Matt Chandler, my good old friend Matt Bing. Chandler Perry. I liked him. Good actor. Good in Friends.
Yeah. Steve, have you seen New Girl?
Yeah.
I feel like Nick from New Girl, I could see him doing a good Steve. Right?
Yeah. I'll take that.
New Girl was such a good show.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll take that.
For some reason, like I do with a lot of series, I think the last episode I saw was Schmidt and who was it getting married? What's her name?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Cece.
Cece,
oh,
yeah, getting married.
Yeah. Her marriage. Yeah, that was a funny episode.
And she did a song with Prince. I downloaded that song. Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah.
That was a good song. Yeah.
Cool.
Jake Johnson, his name is. Nick Miller.
Yeah, he'd be a really good one.
I haven't seen him in anything else.
Show, that's such a good shout. No, he's been in other stuff. I've seen him in something else.
Oh, yeah?
A different TV show. I can't remember what it was.
Have you seen The Good Place?
My girlfriend watches it. She's watched it all. It's very good. Ted Danson and is it, what's her name?
Kristen.
Kristen
Bell.
That's it, yeah. They're very good. From Veronica Mars.
Yeah. And then what's her name?
Jamelia Jamil.
Yeah, Jamil. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good they named her twice.
That one.
Exactly. Brilliant. And any like non-profits or charities that you would like people over here to know about?
The Nick Roberts Foundation.
Well, it's not looking good, is it?
It's basically just it is for profit.
Yeah.
All profits to Nick Roberts. Just like helping me get through the day, whether it be go in the off license to get a few drinks.
Is it tax deductible?
Not from your end, but I will certainly offset any donations I receive against my tax liability financial year. So yeah, whatever you've got. I mean, I know times are hard, blah, blah, blah. Oh, theatre's struggling.
But here's my Venmo info.
But I just think, you know, let's all look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture happens to be a picture of Nick Roberts.
PayPal me /Nick Roberts.
Yeah. Well, I'll sign up to my OnlyFans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean to talk to you about that.
What, am I not doing it right?
No, did you mean to put that video up yesterday?
No, what I'm doing is I'm just putting up videos of like Extractor fans.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, not the right we're going to.
I think you got a bit industrial with it.
I thought it was, you know, that's what people like. Something, you know, a bit.
No, mate.
The norm.
Stuff like that.
Hey, that's
that
good.
Sort of stuff. Yeah.
That's good.
Only fans.
Only fans. Anyway, yeah. So no, just give what you can to not to Nick Roberts, not to me. Give what you can to good causes. Like I give money to Amnesty every month. I don't go on about it.
No, but you do.
I do. Yeah, I do. That's the only charity I give to regularly. Actually,
I try to give to it. There's a little charity, Amazon. It's called.
Yeah, because the guy Jeff, he's struggling.
He's hard up.
I think it's a fundraiser for the Amazon rainforest, isn't it? So they sell stuff to raise money. Yeah,
and they send you what you've ordered, but like put those like packaging there.
Oh, right.
Interesting.
So they've got that packaging from the Amazon.
Yeah. Wow.
Keeping the people in the Amazon going, which is, you know, yeah.
And sometimes they'll just send you like 2 different boxes when they could have just sent you one because they really want to support the Amazon.
Exactly. Keep the people out doing the logging over there in business, which is a lovely touch.
100%.
In all seriousness, in terms of this country, everyone should just give to the local food bank. I think, shouldn't they? That's probably the safest one.
Very good.
Because
very, very good.
We're in such a sad position that, like, most of the country, like, I think it's something insane, like 30% of the population using food banks. Like, what has happened to this country? It was like under 1% 10 years ago, wasn't it? Now I think it's even higher than 30%. But just like,
I will say, if you have the choice between making a donation to the Nick Roberts Foundation or the food bank, split your donation in half. Yeah. Give half to me, half to them. I can't say further than that, SHO. That's me.
I mean, that's fair. You know, you're like really opening up to us, so I think that's a
it's
valid
equitable,
point.
isn't it? It's equitable.
And what Nick loves is peanuts. Send him as much nuts. He loves nuts. Loves
them. Nuts. I'm allergic to nuts. I had to spend. Here's a story actually, SHO. I had to spend a night in a New York hospital because I had a nut allergy. I couldn't. It was awful. Yeah, it was terrible. Honestly, couldn't breathe. I waited. Told the story. I might have told Steve as well. I waited till 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Time to phone my mum and dad.
Hold on. Stand by. You keep talking. My alarm's going off because I was supposed to do a trivia thing in 10 minutes, but that's okay.
Your trivia thing.
We'll be finished. We'll be finished.
Yeah, forget this. It's not a good story, is it?
No, it's not, mate. Terrible story. You've already told one. You've told one terrible anecdote.
I'm not going to tell this one. Yeah. So we've just had a meeting, and I'm not going to tell a story.
End it, lad. End it. It's not.
Okay. It's not a good story.
No.
I'm sorry to have to interrupt.
What I find about the Americans is, if I'm going to get this break in America, I've made one mistake with a poor anecdote. You can get away with one mistake.
Not in America.
But 2 is bad.
2 is just... I mean, that's the saying over there, isn't there? You have in baseball, 2 strikes and you're out.
But...
I mean, it's close.
What is it?
You're
Ironically enough, Nick, that is your 3rd strike.
Oh, 3 strikes and you're out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
I need to beef up on my American culture.
Amazing. So good. Steve, did you have any others that you had in your brain?
Definitely. If you can give to your local food bank, they are doing amazing work. If you ever went to a summer camp, either as a counsellor or as a camper, particularly if you went to NJY Camps, head over to their Facebook page and give anything you can to their fundraiser. Alyssa Wright's doing a very big fundraiser for them. And if you've got any money left and you're feeling especially generous, Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders.
Good one.
Very important.
Love that. Home away from home.
Yeah.
They did have a New Jersey Y Camps like Shabbat a few weeks ago or a month ago. That was awesome. So yes, donate to all of those. If y'all enjoyed this, and this goes for the 3 of you too, you can subscribe to this bwaySHO YouTube channel. What? Find me at bwaySHO on all the things. And I have a Patreon, so you can support me if you like. It's like the Nick Roberts Foundation, but it's a thing, and it's patreon.com/bwaySHO, bwaySHO, and you get exclusive content, and we do monthly videos, and it's a fun time, and that's actually who we have this trivia night going on in 6 minutes, so that'll be fun. Double header right here. Very excited for that.
SHO, is this exclusive? Is this exclusive content?
I was going to say, if you want us to do like a bit of special stuff, just
I'm prepared to.
Yeah, just clip this part off.
Yeah.
Prepared to put some of my OnlyFans stuff on there if you want.
Yeah.
We can't even get enough time to do our own exclusive content.
No, I had to cut that.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for the next episode of Podballs. Y'all are doing great work. Keep it up.
So are you.
Thanks for listening.
Subscribe to your channel.
Yeah.
Subscribe, give all those reviews like you always say. All that. Very helpful. Very helpful.
Yeah, we will. Absolutely.
As Matt always says, go on, say how much you've enjoyed the show. Say how great we all are. Don't say anything nice about Nick.
Yeah, 5-star rating. Leave a review. Make sure you put in a review. Not a big fan of Nick Roberts.
We only ask that you tell the truth.
Fair.
Truth tellers.
That's all we can ask.
Amazing. Well, thank you for staying up late. This has been so much fun. Get some rest.
Enjoy your trivia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and watch Fox News for a little bit. Cheer myself up.
Come on.
Come on. Come off it.
Having such a good time. Why?
I need a good laugh.
I shake my fist at you.
We go and smoke a ciggy.
Bye.
Bye,
See you later,
guys.
guys. Take care.
See you
Nice
later.
to meet you. Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.